The ground shook as a wild boar charged, tusks gleaming, eyes full of fury, straight at the family's terrified children. Then Max, their loyal dog, leapt into the path, teeth bared, ready to face death itself. But what happened next will shock even those who thought they'd seen everything. But first, let's go back to the beginning. The air thickened with tension as the wild boar thundered closer, its coarse bristles bristling with raw aggression, nostrils flaring as it sniffed the alien scents of the suburban backyard. Lily's innocent laughter froze midair, replaced by a startled gasp as she clutched Emily's hand tightly. Ben, too young to fully grasp the peril, instinctively crawled behind his father, eyes wide and trembling. Mark's muscles tensed, his mind racing through everything he'd read about wild boars, their unpredictable ferocity, their razor-sharp tusks, and their terrifying strength. This was no mere animal wandering by. This was desperation incarnate, a creature driven to the edge by the relentless march of human progress. Emily's voice trembled as she whispered reassurances, but even she knew their words were thin shields against the imminent threat. Max, who had been lazily resting moments before, snapped to alertness, ears pricked, eyes blazing with fierce protectiveness. The dog's body stiffened, tail lowered, every instinct screaming that his family was in danger. Despite the boar's menacing charge, Max refused to retreat, his loyalty anchoring him firmly between the beast and the humans he loved. The boar's heavy hooves hammered the earth, shaking loose dry leaves and dirt. It was a force of nature, untamed, cornered, and unpredictable. Mark caught a glimpse of its ragged scars, signs of previous conflicts that hinted at a life scarred by struggle and survival. He felt a pang of conflicted sympathy. This was not a mindless attacker, but a desperate survivor fighting against the harsh realities inflicted by human expansion. The forest behind their backyard, once a sanctuary, had shrunk, leaving less room for creatures like this to thrive. The seconds stretched, a breath held taut between dread and the faint glimmer of hope. Max's growl deepened, his massive frame ready to spring forward. Mark's hands hovered protectively over his children, muscles coiled, heart hammering, not just out of fear, but a fierce determination to defend his family. The wild boar was a living embodiment of nature's untamed spirit, but to Mark, Emily, and the children, it was a terrifying, unstoppable force threatening their very safety. The moment balanced precariously on the edge of chaos, a collision of instincts, fears, and raw survival. Max's senses ignited the moment the wild boar barreled into the yard, every muscle coiled with razor-sharp instinct. His body surged forward before thought could even catch up, propelled by an unwavering primal drive to shield his family. The deep growl rumbling in his chest was a thunderous warning, a raw declaration of protection. He planted himself firmly between the charging beast and the trembling children. His eyes locked onto the savage adversary with fierce determination. The boar lunged with terrifying speed, tusks gleaming like lethal blades aimed directly at Max. The dog responded with a powerful bark that echoed through the air, teeth snapping as he met the charge head-on. Their collision sent shockwaves of violent energy rippling through the yard, Max's muscular frame clashing against the brute force of the boar. Dirt exploded beneath their feet as they grappled, a frantic dance of survival writ large in every movement. Max bit fiercely at the beast's flank, snapping with desperate resolve, while the boar swung its massive head in wild arcs, each tusk a deadly weapon intent on breaking through Max's defense. Mark lunged forward, shouting, but the momentum was relentless. The boar pushed him back with a harsh shove, knocking the breath from his lungs. His heart pounded as he watched Max battle an opponent twice his size, the family's fragile hope hanging by a thread. The wild strength of the boar was overwhelming, each strike a brutal reminder of nature's untamed ferocity. Max's sides heaved, his fur matted with grime and blood, but he refused to yield, his spirit a blaze of unyielding courage. The air was thick with tension, the raw scent of earth and sweat mingling with the harsh metallic tang of fear. Time seemed to warp in the chaos, each second stretched painfully, the outcome uncertain. Max's growls deepened, mingled with pained whines as the boar's relentless assault pressed on. It was not a fight for dominance, but a desperate struggle for survival, the unbreakable bond between protector and family tested to its limits. Then, as suddenly as it had begun, the battle shifted. A sharp whistle sliced through the cacophony. The boar jerked its massive head, startled and wary, its wild eyes flickering with hesitation. The brief pause was all Max needed. The beast hesitated, then retreated with a snort, thudding back into the shadowed forest. Max collapsed to the ground, battered and trembling, but alive. Mark and Emily surged forward, their relief crashing over them like a tidal wave. Tears streamed down Emily's face as she cradled Max's bruised form, her sobs a mix of gratitude and anguish, the fierce protector who had faced death to keep them safe. In the quiet aftermath of chaos, the Johnson household hummed with a solemn reverence, the air heavy with both relief and lingering tension. Max lay stretched across the worn living room rug, his powerful body scarred but breathing steady under Emily's gentle hands. Every careful touch was a silent vow of gratitude, a wordless promise to repay the courage that had shattered their world's fragile boundary between safety and disaster. Mark moved with a slow, deliberate tenderness, cleaning the bruises and punctures etched into Max's fur, each mark a testament to the fierce battle waged in the shadowed border of their backyard. Their hearts swelled not only with thankfulness, but with a profound awe for the dog whose bravery had rewritten the rules of their survival. News of Max's valor spread swiftly, threading through the tight-knit community like wildfire. Neighbors, friends, and strangers alike arrived bearing gifts and kind words, their eyes glistening with a shared understanding of the magnitude of the sacrifice. The local schoolchildren painted vibrant portraits of Max, their brushstrokes capturing the dog's unwavering stance against the wild boar, immortalizing him as a guardian not just of one family but of their entire neighborhood. Town meetings echoed with talk of protection and coexistence, the incident igniting a spark of awareness about the fragile line separating human encroachment from nature's ancient domain. The boar's desperate charge was no longer seen as mindless aggression, but as a tragic echo of survival, a wild cry from a shrinking wilderness pushed to its limits. Max's name became a symbol of resilience, a beacon inspiring the community to face the complex dance of living alongside nature with humility and care. The Johnsons found themselves at the center of an emerging movement, their home a gathering place for conversations about wildlife corridors, habitat preservation, and respect for the creatures sharing their world. In this new chapter, Max was not just a dog, he was a living emblem of hope, a fierce reminder of love's protective power that transcends species and circumstance. One afternoon, as the golden light filtered softly through the window, Mark knelt before Max, his hands trembling as he fastened a small, gleaming medal to the dog's collar. Tears pooled in Mark's eyes, his voice barely more than a whisper, carrying the weight of all unspoken gratitude. "You saved us all." In that quiet, sacred moment, the room held its breath, an unbreakable bond laid bare, a family's love and loyalty crystallized in a single, enduring gesture. The medal glinted like a star against Max's fur, shining with the promise that courage and compassion would forever light their path forward.